folks, to another edition of hashtag AskGSM, a weekly Monday mailbag video where I answer your questions that you sent in from Twitter and Facebook over the last week. If you wanted to send a question, make sure to like my Facebook page at GrahamGSMMatthews or follow me on Twitter and send me a tweet with the hashtag AskGSM at @save_us_GSM. These were all questions that were sent in last Tuesday, so if you want to get your question on the show, make sure to send in your question as soon as possible. I got 12 questions this past week, so a lot of questions, and probably try to keep them as brief as possible, as to the point as possible. The first one from Jared at Jared J from Facebook. How do you think MMA has affected pro wrestling, both as competition and stylistically in the ring? I think it's a nice alternative, like TNA is to WWE, except it's an entirely different sport. It's obviously not like with WCW and WWE back in the 90s, where it was a war between the two companies. This is something completely different. I think it's a nice alternative for those that don't like the drama, don't like the storytelling. WWE and UFC are a lot similar than a lot of people think. It both has the extreme athleticism. Obviously, UFC is for more that extreme, beat the living crap out of you kind of style that some people like these days. I enjoy it. I like both pro wrestling and MMA. I've been practicing MMA for over 3 years now, so I find it very enjoyable. But I definitely think it's a nice alternative to pro wrestling. I think it helps it out more than it hurts it. So it's not like that both companies are feuding anyway, because I think that Vince McMahon and Dana White, the head of UFC at the moment, the president of the UFC, are both on very good terms. So Mike B from Facebook asks, personally, I really don't think Daniel Bryan is main event status, but what are your thoughts on Daniel Bryan? I think Daniel Bryan is going to be a very, very big star very, very soon. Probably as soon as SummerSlam when he defeats John Cena for the WWE Championship. He gets one of the loudest reactions in all of WWE today. He's great in the ring. He's paid his dues. He's been in WWE for over 3 years now. He went up through NXT as a rookie. He's captured the tag team titles. He's captured the mid-card titles. Hell, he's even been a world heavyweight champion. But that reign wasn't all that great. So I'm hoping that he gets a good reign as WWE champion either down the line or as soon as SummerSlam. But I am very, very high on Daniel Bryan. I can't wait. I'm very much enjoying his current run at the top of WWE, and I can't wait for him to capture the WWE title at SummerSlam. Now, next up are the Twitter questions. At Anthony Attitude asks, do you think WWE will ever / should bring back the Cruiserweight Championship? Definitely yes. They have a lot of great talent in Justin Gabriel. They have Tyson Kidd, Yoshitatsu. I don't know about Rey Mysterio, maybe Sin Cara. The list goes on and on and on. The amount of people they can put in a cruiserweight division, they can use those people. There are a lot of people right now that don't get enough television time. I think they can kind of use that championship maybe for main event. Maybe you make a whole other show with the WWE Network coming. Maybe you make it a WWE.com exclusive. I'm definitely high on the idea of them making a cruiserweight show and bringing back the Cruiserweight Championship. Of course, it was buried at the hands of Hornswoggle when we last saw it 6 years ago, but nonetheless, I think should definitely be brought back as soon as possible for those guys that I mentioned, like Gabriel, like Tyson Kidd, and so on and so forth. At Cena Orton N1 fan asks, who do you see being the face of WWE after John Cena retires? Good question. Unable to answer that, though. It's all up in the air as to when John Cena retires. It could be from a career-ending injury 2 years from now. I mean, I'm not to say the worst, but you never know. Could be 10 years from now if he goes out on his own terms. We don't know. John Cena, I can imagine, is going to be around for a very, very, very long time. I think he's 35 right now, 35, 36. So he's going to be around for a while. CM Punk is probably going to be gone by the time Cena leaves. There's going to be a lot of people that are probably going to be gone. Orton, I could see Daniel Bryan probably being a top star when Cena's gone. Not really sure who's to say because a lot can change in the last 10 years. We've seen Fandango, we've seen The Shield, we've seen Big E Langston, and so many other stars debut this past year, or re-debut this past year, that could become top stars. So we could see some more top stars debut within the next 10 years as well that could potentially take Cena's place at the top of WWE. At The Awesome Clark asks, do you think Triple H deserves one last reign as WWE champion? Absolutely not. I don't think he should be wrestling. I don't think he should be wrestling for the championship, much less wrestling at all. I think some of the feuds that he participates in should be used to benefit some of the younger talent, like him versus Brock Lesnar. It was a decent feud. Like, the promos were really good. The matches weren't all that great, but it served no purpose other than putting Brock Lesnar over as a beast. But having him lose to Triple H at WrestleMania was kind of a waste to me. So with those, I know it was cool the fact that they were had never faced off in singles competition, but the feud didn't really benefit anybody, so I thought it was kind of a waste. But even still, he should not wrestle one more time for the WWE Championship. He's already a 13-time WWE Champion, I believe, and that's counting the World Championship. I don't want to see anyone exceed Ric Flair in terms of world titles go, and I think John Cena is well on his way, unfortunately, so I don't think Triple H should come anywhere close either. Excuse me. At FIFA Keems asks, do you think The Miz will ever get back to main event status, or will he just stay like this, hanging around? I would hope that he gets back to main event status. He hasn't been main eventing since 2011 when he was WWE Champion after dropping the title to John Cena at Extreme Rules that year. He has not been in the main event since, or for the most part. I think he would be great on the SmackDown side of things. I know there's really no brand extension anymore, but I think if he was competing for the World Championship, I think that he'd be much better off. So I would hope so. I think he is in need of a main event push at some point. Just floating around isn't really doing him any favors. He doesn't seem motivated to do what he's doing at the moment with Curtis Axel and stuff like that. They're decent feuds, but I think he'd be much better off in the main event picture over on SmackDown, feuding with guys like Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler, Ryback maybe. There's a lot of guys over on the SmackDown side of things that he can feud with over the World Championship. Up next, at Jeremy8911 asks, do you think Daniel Bryan will win the WWE title at SummerSlam? Already established this earlier on in the video, but yes, most definitely. If he does not win the WWE title from Cena at SummerSlam, you can definitely expect a riot from Los Angeles come SummerSlam. At Ethan Loves WWE asks, what are your top 5/10 favorite wrestling cities? I'll only do the top 5, but my top 5 are New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and these next two aren't really cities per se, but they are locations, Canada and England. I think both those foreign crowds are absolutely amazing, always electric, as are Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York. Specifically Madison Square Garden, but Brooklyn a few weeks ago was very, very hot as well. They were hot for TLC last year as well. So the entire, New York area, I would say, is also a hot area. At TJ the Beast 70 asks, which match would you choose to end the show at WrestleMania 30? Stone Cold versus CM Punk or Undertaker versus John Cena? This is a very good question. Both matches that I really want to happen come WrestleMania 30. Which match would close the show? I have no idea. I don't think Stone Cold would come back if his match was not the main event. So I would have to say Stone Cold versus Punk, especially if it was his last match. But if it's going to be Taker's last match, and I don't know, that's a really, really good question. But I'm going to have to say Stone Cold Punk. Because if it's going to be Stone Cold's last match, and I don't think he would come back for anything else less than the main event. So I'm going to have to say Stone Cold Punk. Taker and Cena, if that match wasn't happening, if Stone Cold and Punk wasn't happening, then Taker Cena would definitely take the main event spot. At 2000 Awesome asks, do you think a Wyatt family versus the Shield feud would work? I think someone asked this a few weeks ago, but nonetheless, I think it could work down the line, not immediately. The Wyatt family is on fire right now. The Shield has all the gold in the terms of the U.S. title and the WWE Tag Team Championships. So I don't think they should collide anytime soon. Keep them apart as far away as possible for as long as possible. Maybe have a clash come WrestleMania 30. You're going to have to turn the Shield babyface eventually, but they're so great as heels at the moment that I don't want to see that happen anytime soon. But I think that could work down the line, not just right now. And the final question also comes from at Ethan Loves WWE. He asks, who are some wrestlers in other promotions, and in parentheses, people who have or have not been in WWE, that you would like to see in WWE? A number of people. I would love to see Batista back at some point. I understand that he wouldn't be a full-time guy, but even on a part-time basis, I really want to see him back. That's as far as it goes as free agents. There's really no other free agents that I want to see in WWE. From TNA, Angle, obviously. Hardy, maybe for one more run. Bobby Roode, I think, could flourish in WWE if booked correctly. Austin Aries, most definitely. Possibly James Storm. AJ Styles is a definite. He's got to give it at least one try on television. I understand he was back there in the 90s, but I would love to see him in WWE at some point. Samoa Joe is another guy I think could flourish in WWE, but those are only a few of the people that I would love to see in WWE, and that's not only counting the people in ROH as well. I believe there was one more question. I think I skipped over. Oh, from JJF Tweets, he asked, do you think Matt Hardy will ever get a shot at the WWE again? And what did you think of his V1 heel character? I do think he could be back in the WWE again. Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm biased because I'm a Matt Hardy fan. But he has cleaned up his act in the last 2 years, so I could definitely see him back in the WWE at some point, along with his brother Jeff, if all goes well. But even still, what did I think of his V1 heel character? I was not a fan at the time, but I have seen clips of it. I have seen video of it. I know what you're talking about. I do like the character. I think that heel character, the cocky character that he portrayed at the time, in 03, 04, when he was around with Shannon Moore, around the time that he was Cruiserweight Champion, I think it was great. I think it was much better than his heel character that he had in 2009 when he was feuding with Jeff. That was short-lived. I think that had much more potential to be greater than it was. But I definitely enjoyed his heel character that he had about 10 years ago around the time that he was Cruiserweight Champion. So that's going to do it for this week. I apologize for rushing through the questions and mispronouncing any names as usual, but nonetheless, I apologize for rushing through and whatever. There were a lot of questions this week, so I want to try to keep them as brief and to the point as possible, but hopefully I'll be able to give some more I'll be able to go in more detail next week if I get fewer questions, but more questions the better, I would say. Even still, if you want to send in a question, make sure to like my Facebook page at Graham GSM Matthews and follow me on Twitter and send me a tweet with the hashtag AskGSM to @SaveUS_GSM. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to enjoy the rest of your week. And this is GSM signing out. Till next time, guys.